Hello, boys. Welcome back to another session of online biology video tutorials. And this session is meant for class 12th biology students, and this is for 27th July 2021. As we all know that we have been discussing about chapter number 4, reproductive health. And in this chapter, we were talking about what is the definition and significance of reproductive health, what is the role of WHO and the role of Government of India in making RCH programs, as well as mental and child health services and family planning programs that have been started by our own country, and how to achieve birth control so that population explosion can be controlled. We talked about the temporary methods, we talked about permanent methods in making the population control, and we also discussed about the MTP and what are the legal issues involved in that. And in our last session, we talked about most important one that is causing a lot of stress and harm to our country, that is STD, sexually transmitted diseases. And we said that sexually transmitted diseases are also called as VD, venereal diseases, or RTI, reproductive tract infections. Under that, we talked about syphilis. It is caused by bacterium Trypanosoma pallidum. Symptoms of this disease are painless ulcers on the genitals, swelling of local lymph glands, skin lesions, rashes, hair loss, and swollen joints. Then we moved on to gonorrhea. Gonorrhea is caused by bacterium Neisseria gonorrhea. The bacterium lives in genital tubes, produces pus containing discharge, pain around genitalia, and burning sensation when the person urinates. During urination, there will be burning sensation. Then we talked about the most dreaded disease, that is a silent killer in our country, that is AIDS, acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. It is caused by a virus called HIV, human immunodeficiency virus. The symptoms of AIDS include the fever, lethargy, pharyngitis, continuous weight loss, nausea, headache, and this is the most dangerous disease because it is transmitted via blood as well as semen. So a lot of contamination will be there. And then another dangerous disease, hepatitis B. It is caused by hepatitis B virus, we say HBV. Its symptoms include fever, loss of appetite, abdominal discomfort, nausea, fatigue, followed by very dangerous jaundice. So hepatitis B causes jaundice. Then we talked about genital herpes. Genital herpes is caused by herpes simplex virus, and the lesions are followed by clusters of painful erythematous ulcers over external genitalia and perianal regions, vaginal and urethral discharge, and swelling of lymph nodes are some of the common symptoms of genital herpes. And then we talked about the genital warts. The genital warts are caused by human papilloma virus, we say HPV, and symptoms include benign hard outgrowths with horny surface. That's why we are calling it as warts, genital warts, over the skin and mucosal surface of external genitalia and perianal area. Then we talked about chlamydiasis. Chlamydiasis is caused by Chlamydia trachomatis. Chlamydia is an obligate intracellular pathogen. It causes trachoma, non-gonococcal erythritis, and other diseases. And then we talked about the last one, trichomoniasis. Trichomoniasis is caused by Trichomonas vaginalis. The parasite affects both male as well as females. In females, it causes vaginitis with yellow vaginal discharge and burning sensation characterized by foul smell, foul odor. Males are generally asymptomatic, however, at times a burning sensation occurs during urination. So, having covered all these STDs, we now go to another important concept called infertility. So, inability to conceive or produce children in spite of unprotected sexual cohabitation is called infertility. Means a couple is unable to produce children. So we can say that is inability. Inability to produce children is infertility. It is caused, as we can guess, by various reasons that can be grouped under physical, congenital, diseases, drugs, immunological, or even sometimes psychological disorders also. So we need some help. So these disorders can be treated in infertility clinics. Fortunately, we have many infertility clinics in cities, and they use one technology called ART, Assisted Reproductive Technologies. This includes number of special techniques which assist infertile couples to have children. And as we know, in our country, many couples are having problems in not having the children. They go to temples, they go to mosques, they go to churches, they go to some swamis also. But most important thing is that they must follow and go to this technology, assisted reproductive technologies. And one of the best programs under ART is test tube baby program. It's very, very common one. So we have got various methods, and the best and the very famous one is this test tube baby program, or it is also technically called as IVF, in vitro fertilization. And then second one is AIT, that is the artificial insemination technique. This is AIT. And the third one is, of course, very familiar, GIFT, gamete intrafallopian transfer. And the fourth one is ICSI, intracytoplasmic sperm injection. So using these along with what is called surrogacy, we can solve the problem of the couple who are issueless or children not having children, childless. So the technologies used to correct the infertility problems are these. So through these we can solve the problem. So first let us talk about the test tube baby program, in vitro fertilization. Look at that. To start with, collection of egg from female donor. So there must be a female donor who can donate the egg. Collection of sperms from the male donor. This is where both the husband and wife has got problem, and then we can go for the donors. So the egg production is stimulated by hormone therapy. Using the hormonal influence, we can make the sperms to fuse with the egg. Of course, remember, both the sperm is also donated one, the egg is also donated one. And then this egg artificially will be made to fuse, and the zygotes are produced. And these are kept under lab conditions, and to certain days, some days, the embryos will be allowed to develop, and these embryos are transferred directly to the uterus. Okay, so this is how the test tube baby will take place. So in this method, ova from the wife or donor, look at that, if wife is healthy, there are no issues with her in producing ova, directly the ova of the same lady can be taken. If there is some issue with the wife, and she is not able to produce the ova, then we can go for the donor. And the sperms from the husband or donor are collected and are induced to form zygote. How to induce? With the help of hormones, hormonal therapy. And the zygote is also stimulated under artificial conditions in the laboratory. This is followed by ET, embryo transfer. So the ET can be done, embryo transfer can be done in two ways. One is the GIFT, ZIFT, zygote intrafallopian transfer, and intrauterine transfer. Either it is zygote can be directly put in the uterus, then you will say IUT. And it can be in the fallopian, then fallopian to transfer to uterus, then GIFT. So under embryo transfer, zygote intrafallopian transfer, ZIFT abbreviation. Transfer of zygote or early embryos with up to 8 blastomeres, see, it is blastula stage, into fallopian tube. Since we are inserting this into fallopian tube, we are using the word zygote, intra means within the fallopian tube, and transfer is taking place. Intrauterine transfer of embryos with more than 8 blastomeres. See, this is the condition remains same, 8 blastomeres. But here the place is directly uterus. That's why we are saying IUT. So embryos formed by in vivo fertilization. Fertilization within the female is also used for such transfer to assist those females who cannot conceive. So we are helping both male as well as the female. And in case of GIFT, the transfer of ovum from a donor into the fallopian tube of another female who cannot produce ovum but can provide suitable environment for fertilization and development. Look at that. So through the catheter, we are using that, we are transferring that, and this is the fallopian tube. That's why, since the gamete ovum is transferred into the fallopian tube, we say GIFT. There we said ZIFT. See the difference between two, you must remember, ZIFT and GIFT. ZIFT is zygote transfer. GIFT is gamete transfer. Here the gamete is ovum. So that you must remember, the difference between the two. And the second one, cytoplasmic sperm injection. So a laboratory procedure in which a single sperm from male partner is injected directly into an egg from female partner. After the fertilization, the embryo is implanted into the woman's uterus. You can see here the transfer of the sperm. Sperm is directly injected into the egg cell. Okay. So once the nucleus of the sperm is made to fuse with the nucleus of the egg cell or ovum, automatically the zygote formation takes place, and then transfer will be there. And the next one, fourth one, AIT, artificial insemination technique, AIT. The semen collected from husband or a donor is artificially introduced into the vagina or uterus of the female. You can see through the injection, the semen is inserted or injected. Artificial insemination into the uterus is known as IUT, intrauterine insemination or intrauterine technique. This technique is useful for the male partner having inability to inseminate female or a person who is male having low sperm count. Remember, in our previous chapter we talked about the various ways in which the male can be biologically potential, and one of the conditions that we said is the sperm count. There must be good number of sperms, and all the sperms must have the mobility. Okay, they should be motile. They must move. So where such problems are there in a male, this is the best method to be adapted. So you can see here the injected sperms, many numbers, okay, into the directly uterus through vagina. And then the very common one that is happening nowadays in our country as well as in European countries is surrogacy. Here a woman that is surrogate mother, bears a child for a couple unable to produce children because the wife is infertile or unable to carry. So maybe there are some problems related to reproductive tract of the female. Maybe the uterus has got some problem. In such cases where the female is unable to carry the growing embryo, then the couple can take the help of a surrogate mother, surrogate body on rent. Okay, the surrogate is impregnated through artificial insemination or implantation of embryo produced by IVF, in vitro fertilization. So here only the embryo is directly placed into the reproductive tract of surrogate mother. So surrogate mother is almost giving her uterus for rent. This is what you must understand. Now, what are the problems related to assisted reproductive technologies? It requires high precision handling by specialized professionals and expensive instrumentation. So we require a very good specialized doctors, and it is expensive treatment. Maybe it costs lakhs, not thousands, it lakhs. And therefore these facilities are available only in, as I said, big cities, metropolitan cities. And there are a lot of emotional, religious and social problems involved. Like how can a lady give her uterus for rent? Is it morally okay? So, lot many questions. And when the donor gives a sperm, for example, of course they maintain secrecy, but still, a later stage, if they come to know that the sperm of the donor is somebody else, or womb is from somebody else, so a lot of emotional issues. Hence, we need to handle this carefully. And legal adaptation is one of the best methods for couples looking for parenthood. So we can adapt. There are so many children who are not having parents. So its best option is to adapt them. So with this, we can understand that one of the best methods of solving the infertility problem is ART, A-R-T, assisted reproductive technologies. And sometimes during development of the fetus, some disorders can also take place. That is, detection of fetal disorders. Transabdominal aspiration of fluid from amniotic sac of the fetus is called amniocentesis. It is a fetal sex determination and disorder test based on the chromosomal pattern and the amniotic fluid surrounding the developing embryo. So there is something called CVS technique, chorionic villi sampling technique. The physician inserts a narrow flexible tube through the mother's vagina and cervix into the uterus and withdraws a small amount of fetal tissue, that is chorionic villi, from the placenta. One of the widely used non-invasive technique to determine fetal condition is ultrasound imaging. Okay, nowadays is very common, ultrasound imaging. And there is another technique called fetoscopy, and in this, a thin needle tube containing a viewing scope is inserted into the uterus, giving the physician direct view of the fetus. So by using these techniques, ultrasound imaging and fetoscopy, the gynecologist can view whether the fetus that is generating inside the uterus of the mother, is it growing normally.